Hi guys, in today's science preview we're going to cover the concept of species and reproduction. The standard that goes along with this concept is 8LS1. Diversity of species occurs through gradual processes over many generations. Fossil records provide evidence that changes have occurred in number and types of species. The learning target is I can describe how variations may allow for survival when the environment changes. So after our lesson and preview, you will be able to explain this to somebody about how different species have changed in order to survive in their environment. So our vocabulary, these are the words you need to know in order to keep up with our discussion. So make sure you understand them completely before coming to class. Our first vocabulary word is diversity. Diversity is an instance of being composed of differing elements or qualities. So in this picture, there's a bunch of diversity. There's a bunch of different qualities or elements that make these animals different. A fossil record is a history of life as documented by fossils. So scientists have looked at different fossils to understand the history, the past, in order to understand when certain things were alive, to understand how things have evolved throughout time. Variations means something that is different from the standard. So that means there's different variations or different types. Like all of these birds have different types or variations of beaks. This is something that is different in each one of them. Traits. A trait is a quality that makes one thing different than another. So some people have a widow's peak. Some people can roll their tongue. Some people, when they put their hands together, they put their thumb on top of their thumb, or they put their right thumb on top of their thumb, or the left thumb on top of their other thumb. These are different traits that make everybody unique. Extinction means the end of an organism or species. One extinction that you might be very aware of is the dinosaurs. The end, the complete end of them, we don't see them anymore. So while you're thinking of different species and the things that they have done to adapt to their environment, I want you to consider this. There is an imaginary animal, the whatsit. The whatsit lives in woods. Men and larger animals hunt it. Most whatsits are born with white fur, making them easy to spot amongst the trees. Some whatsits are born with brown speckled fur. These are far more difficult to spot. Since they are easier targets for hunters, far more white whatsits are hunted and killed than speckled ones. Each time a speckled one mates with a white one, half the offspring is speckled. Eventually, the amount of white-furred ones available to breed is smaller than the number of speckled ones. More offspring are born with speckles than white fur. This animal has adapted, and now the majority has speckled fur instead of white fur. Eventually, the white-furred ones will disappear altogether. So we're going to talk more about this in class. I want you to be able to tell me what they did in order to adapt to their environment. Remember, you can listen to this again if you need to. Just be prepared to explain what happened to this species of whatsits in order to get them to survive. One more consideration. A group of animals live in the environment somewhere. In this environment, a large number of their offspring die each year after being attacked by wild animals. The group of animals can make changes to their environment and behavior in order to protect the offspring. These animals can build things, usually a home for their offspring. They can develop behavioral adaptations that make them more efficient, including speed, endurance, cunning, and highly specialized sense organs, or physical features for avoiding their predators. They can ensure that the children only go out in groups, protected by a heightened sense of awareness, speed, and agility, or disguises, all of which help them to escape or elude predators. So with this consideration, remember you can go back and listen to it again if you need to. What did the animals do in order to survive in their environment? What adaptation did they do in order to adapt to their environment? Okay, we're going to apply our knowledge. We're going to see what different adaptations animals have done in order to survive in their environment. So with these different scenarios, you're going to figure out if it's structural, which is something that happens to the animal's body, or behavioral, which is something that the animals have changed how they do in order to adapt and survive. So our first one, lizards and similar animals have adapted frangible tails, they break off easily, to provide escape from capture and distraction of the predator. Pause it if you need time to think. Is this structural, something that happens to their body, or behavioral, something that they do in order to survive? The answer is structural. It's something that happens to their body. The next one, butterflies, non-toxic ones, have adapted to look like their more poisonous cousins. So is that structural, something that it's changing in their body, or behavioral, something that they do in order to survive? Pause it if you need to. The answer is structural. Is something that happens to their body in order to help them survive. The next one, bats have adapted their hearing to hunt at night via sonic response. Is that structural? Something that has happened to their body to help them adapt to their environment and survive? Or behavioral, something that they do in order to survive? Pause it if you need to. The answer is structural, something that happens to their body in order to help them survive. The last one we're going to do during our preview is frogs have adapted to freezing temperatures by evolving a glycol-like substance in their bloodstreams, like antifreeze. Is this something that happens to their body or something that they do in order to adapt and survive in their environment? Pause the video if you need to. This one is structural too. We're going to be looking at more examples of structural and behavioral adaptations that animals have done to survive in their environment. So make sure you understand the difference between these two before coming to class. Make sure you watch this video as many times as you need and are prepared for our discussions. Have a great day, guys.